Alright, just doing a little more testing on the pickup. You can see I cleaned up and put the air intake system and all this stuff back together. Made some clamps and what have you. Routed some of the wires. And I'm testing the AEM oil pressure and then the air-fuel ratio, which I have set up to Lambda. But everything's working well. The ECU is stabilizing the air-fuel ratio at right around 1 there, the way it should. That's a stoichiometric ratio, so that's not an air-fuel ratio. That's a what's known as stoichiometric. So you can check Google on that and find out a lot of cool information. But this is the oil temperature, and then there's no leaks or anything. I had a leak earlier here, but I just had to tighten up this little Nicolor clamp. The fan is running. I'm in the process of routing the wiring stuff into the engine through the firewall over there. Let's see what else is new. I guess that's about it. Oh, the radiator. Somebody was asking about the radiator. It's working really great. There's no leaks or anything like that. It's just doing its thing. Seems to provide really great cooling. You can see over here I have a mechanical VDO gauge which has the capillary wiring, and I've got it wired into the bottom of that little loop over thing. Let me see if I can show you down here. Let's see here. So I've got it, you can kind of see it poking out right there. That's just temporary. But so what that does is that when the thermostat opens up over here, it will trip the SPAL fan switch. Once water starts flowing through here, and then it'll flow out the bottom, and it will go past the sending unit for this capillary that goes up to the VDO gauge. So you can see it's starting to register water flow past it. So that means the thermostat is probably starting to let a little bit of water come through. Let's see if we can see here. And then if you check on my girlfriend, you want to say hi, honey? She's out there doing some kind of pole stuff on her little pole. Be sure to follow her at AbbyLola90 on Instagram. She does all kinds of cool pole stuff. Anyways, in here you can see we've got oil pressure, and I had to put in a Forerunner SR5 oil pressure sending unit on the side of the block because these pickups come with just a light, so you have to be sure you change that over. Because this is fuel injected, it had already had the wiring harness for the tach, so I didn't have to run anything. I just verified that the harness had a black wire, and that black wire had continuity over here to this harness. And I think it's pin number 5 or 6 or something. You can look in the factory service manual and dig that out. But you can see the SR5 cluster is working. We got the tach working okay there. And then we've got the charging and the fuel, of course. So that's all working all right. And then, so we've got oil temperature running past the galley. And I picked up right down in there. Oh, okay, so you can see the fan clicking on. Let me grab my, might be a little loud, but you can see how well the radiator and the fan work together. You can see it's dropping that water temperature coming out of the radiator like nobody's business. So if we we look up here, the water coming out of the motor, the fan is messing up the reading, but it opens around 185 or so. There we go, that's a little better. And then down here, you can see the water coming back in the motor is a little bit cooler. And that matches our little gauge here. Let me circulate the water a little bit. Keep an eye on that guy over there. So the radiator works great. I've got the SPAL fan, SPAL electric fan over there. And you can see I'm running a smaller diameter, let me see if I can catch it for this side. I'm running a smaller diameter LC Engineering front flywheel, front crank pulley. And I think that's a slightly reduced water pump pulley. I'm running their water pump. It was a Nissan, I believe, water pump. But it looked like it was pretty high quality. So let's see what else can we do here. Oh, okay. Let me grab my ignition diagnostic thing over here. So this, I don't know if you guys have ever seen these. I use these to set the idle on my chainsaw. This is the Smart Tack TA500. This thing is really great. I think I got it off Amazon. So you turn it on and you can configure all kinds of ignition systems. I've got it set for spark plug wire, force cycle, and then let me just see if I can do this one-handed here. So I'm just going to tap down here on the number 1, and then we can see I've got the idle set, you know, around 750, 760-ish. So if you aren't hip to these guys, they're kind of fun. And then I've got the LC Engineering extended idle screw. That thing's a lifesaver, let me tell you. Let's see what else we got going here. So you can see the oil's running about 167 through the galley. We got the Lambda reading right where it should. And then we've got the Braille battery there, and the alternator. So the alternator is doing its thing down there, and I've got the 140 amp alternator from LC Engineering, and I ran some heavier duty wires. So the truck's starting to come together. Everything seems to be functioning okay. And the exhaust, I don't know what Abby's doing over there. Some kind of spinning on the pole. I'm liking those moves, honey. And then we've got the exhaust system cranking away up here. I haven't gotten it on the road, but it's a lot quieter than I was expecting, so that's a plus. I don't think there's any exhaust leaks. So far everything seems good. I have not gotten out on the road yet. Oh, here, let me give you guys a demonstration. Okay, I'm going to turn the car off, and then I'm going to turn it back to on to kick the fan on. And let me show you how long the fan runs. And you can kind of see, even though the water's not circulating there, you can kind of get an idea. So for all you guys who are interested in the aluminum radiator, this will kind of give you a sense of how things work. And I've got the SPAL fan, so that's SPAL. And if anyone, is curious, I can always go dig up what part number I used. And you can see it's doing its thing, cooling. And the reason I went with the electric fan, and you can see I chucked out the power steering nonsense, and I just looped it over the way you do like a circle track race car or something like that. Right down there. So this is cooling the water in the radiator right now with the fan. And the air is, cooling the motor. So when this little SPAL switch right here, when it gets down to about, I think it's about 175 Fahrenheit, then it will cut that fan off. And you can see over here, I'm still working on the wiring. So I've just got the SPAL fan switch jumper. This is the lead that comes in through the firewall, and then that white wire goes out the other side, and the white wire goes out the other side to something, I don't know. Oh, that goes to my fan relay. So that white wire comes all the way along the harness that's up under there, along the front, and you can see I buttoned everything up here. It comes all the way, sneaks back around here, and goes up into the fuse box. And I have I tapped into one of the power leads, I can't remember which one it was, and then it came out here. And I'm running this Bussmann 40 amp circuit breaker for the fan. So the fan is dialed into that. You can kind of see it goes down there, and that's the SPAL connector for the fan. Let me put this down here. I can kind of show you a little bit of how I did. I used the factory shroud. I don't know how well you can see it there, but I used the factory shroud, and I just kind of made my own standoffs. It's a little hard to see now that it's on the trunk, but I just kind of went crazy making my own standoffs. Let me see if I can show you here. Yeah, see right here, just some aluminum, just some 6mm long bolts, and then some aluminum standoffs, and then I just kind of glued in some washers and what have you, and it bolted right up to the, ow, a little bit hot there. I bolted right up, and then this is the overflow. So anyways, a couple of guys were asking, hey, what's up with the fan? Did it work? Is it good? Do you like it? And the answer is yes, yes, and yes. It's good, I like it, and it works. And as I was mentioning earlier in the video, I decided to go with these Micolor, however you pronounce it, W5 stainless steel clamps. So you can see them in a couple locations here, down there. And I get those clamps off eBay from the UK. They're made in Spain. If you want the all 316 stainless, just make sure you get the W5. And one of the little tricks that I do is, like for example, let me see here. I don't know if I can get the exact number on this one here, but let me get my flashlight. So this one, for example, is a 40 to 43 millimeter. And they aren't kidding, when they say that's the range. But one of the things I do is sometimes you need a slightly longer bolt. So if this is, like say this is a 40 to 43 millimeter, I will also buy the 43 to 45 millimeter or whatever the next size clamp up is, in order, and you have to look at their their product literature, but a lot of the clamps share the same size and same thread pitch bolts. So what you can do is you can kind of order 2 clamps, and then you can take the longer bolt out of the bigger clamp, and that gives you a little bit more kind of grabbing and pulling over ability. You are left with a little bit more sticking out, but in some cases, without that longer bolt, you can forget about getting these things cinched down properly. So, okay, well, I was just out here in the garage monkeying around with the truck, checking to make sure it runs at the right temperature, and trying to get all my my little gauges in the mix here, so I can start working on the interior. And I thought some of you guys might want to hear about the radiator, since I do get a few comments on that. So like I said before, it's working great, super happy with it. Highly recommend the Champion radiator, and I'm really pleased with how it fit into the whole mix here with the SPAL fan and using the original factory shroud. And all I had to do was basically the fan bolts to the shroud, and then the shroud bolts to the Champion radiator. So the fan is actually not touching the radiator. The fan is bolted to the shroud, and then the shroud is bolted to the radiator. So that makes a super slick, super clean installation. Okay, hope you've enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to use the comment section below if you have any questions or comments. Thanks for watching.